Plus Sports Special on Plus TV Africa. Welcome on the show. What a morning. My name is Wally Scott, and of course, Mikhail, it's going to be a fantastic morning this morning. Not very fantastic for me, though, but it's going to be a good day.
Yes, you will get the benefit of some wonderful Premier League matches to lift our spirit in the afternoon.
No doubt. So, of course, we'll take a little break. Of course, we'll stay here, and we have Seun Ajidagba joining us on the phone shortly. Stay with us. Hello, good morning, Seun.
Hello, good morning, Wally.
Now, the First Lady paid the Falcons a surprise visit. These are good times for our female sports women because first off, it was the Aishat Buhari tournament in Lagos. Then the Edo State First Lady had her own tournament in Benin, of course, for just females. And now our First Lady actually pays them a surprise visit, urging them to do well to make the girl child in Nigeria work towards actually doing sports for the country. This is good times for the female folks in sports.
I appreciate the First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Mrs. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, for paying the Super Falcons a visit and charging them to go all out and achieve the result against the Black Queens of Ghana. Don't forget, we just played some days ago where we defeated them by 2-0. And the captain and the coach of the Black Queens of Ghana both said Nigerians were just too physical, but they're not intelligent like they were. So that aspect is where I think we need to pick it up from. To say, not only are we physical, but we are also intelligent. No disrespect to the Black Queens of Ghana. It shouldn't be a team that should be troubling the Super Falcons. So I feel that despite holding that 2-0 advantage, and one important thing I need to also stress is the fact that we didn't concede any goal. So we need to go there not with the defensive mindset. Go there that you can also beat them on their Accra Stadium. So it's correct to put them under pressure. So I feel that the Ghanaians are a foregone issue. Up next should be whoever wins between Ivory Coast and Niger Republic. But Wale, sentimentally, I want us to face the Ivorians. You ask me why. They were the team that debarred us from going to the last Olympics in Tokyo, right here in Lagos. So I want us to pay them back in their own coin and ensure that they don't visit the African Women Cup of Nations in Morocco. But Wale, I also must say that whoever is organizing this WAFCON or under 17 or under 23, they must have a routine, and that job is rested upon the shoulders of the CAF president, Patrice Motsepe. They need to change this format where they are pitting top teams against each other and against one another. So it's now sure that we might not likely see Ghana or Morocco, I beg your pardon, Ivory Coast. If these teams were at the WAFCON, we would have made the WAFCON more stronger. But this format that they are adopting as a way of eliminating teams that are very strong is not right at all. The excuse that they are giving is not tenable. Okay, they say it's logistical nightmare.
I'll come back to you, Seun. Now, Mikhail, what Seun Ajidagba is doing right now, we have done before and he hurt us. We were in the France 98 World Cup. We were looking towards over Denmark and looking towards playing Brazil, and we lost woefully to Denmark. Seun was already looking away from Ghana and looking towards Cote d'Ivoire already. You know, saying that the girls, we have a revenge mission to play Cote d'Ivoire. So he's already looked above Ghana, and Ghana is gone, as far as it's concerned. But that might not be the right thing to do.
Well, I mean, as fans, as sports writers, as sports contributors, and even the coach must look ahead. It's the natural human instinct. It is beholden upon the girls to focus solely on match by match and think, how are we doing in training? Focus on getting the right tactical approach set up for the next match, because that's the most important match for them. But as observers, obviously want to aspire for more than what is immediately in front of us, especially when we know that the immediate opponent doesn't have as much pedigree, as much quality as us, and we should naturally, and at the very least, we should expect a win, because it might be the right pressure. It might be the right pressure that forges our Falcons into the kind of diamonds that will go ahead and play Ivory Coast and potentially win. When they know that the whole nation is behind them and expects greatness from them, perhaps they will live up to that greatness.
Now, Seun, first of all, we've said thank you to the First Lady for actually paying the ladies a courtesy visit. That should spur them to do better. But Seun, what can we do to ensure that maybe what CAF is trying to do is that they want to try and make other teams who never had hopes to get involved in this competition proper to actually have a chance. You know, countries like Madagascar, Cape Verde, you know. And the truth be said, if you put the big teams against the big teams in the qualifying series, at the end of the day, some teams who never thought they would ever get near it may have a chance. Seun, have you seen it from that perspective yet?
Well, let me just correct an impression. I heard you when you told Mika that the same thing happened in France 98, where we have not finished with Denmark hurdle. We are already looking at Brazil. Let me shock you, Wale. Even if I'm a Muslim, one of my best songs that I love to listen to every day is One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus. Even if I am looking beyond the Black Queens of Ghana, I intentionally did so. Not to discredit the Ghanaian team, but I feel that they are trailing 2-0. They need to first score and level that deficit. And I think the firepower that we have, your Degas, your Farnoses, your Sholas, the Uche Kanu, the Tony Payne, to be able to score in Ghana. And so that's the angle I'm looking at it from. Talking about what you are saying, whether CAF is trying to make sure that other countries can come. Wale, you have your trusted hand on Plus Sport, on Plus TV. Don't say because you have one friend who does not understand sports, you want to help that person. You bring that person on the show. At the end of the show, at the end of the day, you embarrass that show. You know why? Because what I'm saying from this angle is, if you give all those Eswatini, all those Cape Verde, an opportunity to qualify from their own region, the East Africa, by the time they get to the competition, they will be beating blue, black, red, and green. You saw what happened to Zambia. When they went to Olympics, they were decimated, they were annihilated, and they were pummeled, all in the name of we want to give other teams a chance. At the end of the day, what happened? They say Zambia of Africa. That means they embarrassed Africa at that tournament. So we should look beyond this myopic aspect. If they are good enough, let them qualify for it.
Do you agree with that? That's good of thoughts. Okay.
First of all, I want to put an addition to what he said earlier. I know he was just defending his position, but I would say that it's a compliment on the girls that we know that they have the quality and they should win the next game. That said, regarding whether this whole new formula of allowing for smaller teams to play against smaller teams and big teams should play against big teams and knock each other out and potentially end up at the final stages facing each other, it creates less competition. And that's not what we want to see. In sports, we know that the underdog can pull a stunner. But if you create situations where the underdog is facing another underdog, then whoever wins is inconsequential to us. There's a reason in the Champions League where you don't see a Malmo, a Sheriff, Uzbekistan team, and some relative unknown, strictly in one group with the intention that at least 2 minnows will end up at the final 16 and potentially go on to, because at the end of the day, you want to ensure competition. We don't want to watch a Malmo in the Champions League final unless they earn it. We don't want to watch one of the Cape Verdes in the finals unless they earn it. If they want to help these smaller teams, smaller nations do better in these competitions, sponsor specific programs to help develop their leagues.
Work on their structures. And
yes.
all that. Okay. By popular demand, if I give you a list of people who have called my phone and sent me messages to discuss this again, I won't finish this show today. Now, the Executive Committee of Nigerian Football Federation, like you know, has approved the reinstatement of Coach Salisu Yusuf to his position as assistant coach of the Super Eagles and head coach of the Super Eagles B team, that's Chan team, with effect from 1st November 2021. The NFF made it known in a press statement by its spokesperson, Ademola Olajire. The statement quoted the General Secretary of the NFF, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi, as announcing the reinstatement of the former Kano Pillars Eimba FC and Rangers International FC Gaffer by the NFF board was on the recommendation of the NFF Technical Department. Now, the statement said, highly respected for his match reading ability, calm demeanor, and proficiency in talent discovery and development, Yusuf in his playing days featured for Ranchers Bees of Kaduna and El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri, among others. Now, Salisu was in August 2018, he was caught on camera accepting cash from men who posed as football agents to select 2 players for his Morocco 2018 African Nations Championship squad. He was ordered to pay a fine of $5,000 by the Federation after the NFF Ethics and Fair Play Committee ruled that the coach received $1,000 from the men. The NFF had earlier reinstated the coach in 2019. Seun, can you explain this to us? This man was caught on camera receiving bribe $1,000 in 2018 for agreeing to play 2 men. And we bring him back to the game. Not only that, put him back as assistant coach of the Super Eagles and make him the head coach of Nigeria Super Eagles Team B. Who does this? Except for Nigeria, that is.
Nigeria Football Federation. I said it to you yesterday, and I'm reiterating again. To err is human, and to forgive is divine. But there are some offenses that are not acceptable at all. Now, let's look around. I know what the NFF are doing. It's strategy. Joseph Yobo is a motivational speaker with the Super Eagles player. He doesn't have any coaching badge. So he's just occupied till I come. And that's the reason you saw Paula Igbo take the home-based players to go and play against Mexico while he was in Super Sports Studio analyzing Euros. If you were to be a coach with a badge and understand the dynamics of football as a coach, you won't be in the studio analyzing. The second person that they brought, Imama Mapakabo, that one for me, played in flying colors. And I still have a grudge against him. He was the one who ensured we didn't qualify for CHAN for the first time in history. He ensured we didn't qualify for the Olympics in Tokyo. He failed in flying colors and he was slipping the blame on the players that they could not interpret tactics. Instead of him to say, I don't know my job. Now, they brought in a Salisu Yusuf, who they think is experienced. Took us to CHAN and got to the final, but got decimated by the host Morocco. In all of this, I would have thought that there would have been a proper explanation. Those technical committee people, if they were bold enough, if they had the testicular fortitude, they would have organized a press conference where journalists would be invited. And when you are telling us that you reinstated Salisu Yusuf for ABC reasons, the journalists will be asking you questions E, F, G, H. And if you are able to answer those questions and convince them, we would have known that this is the reason you reinstated him. Because there is no difference between what Salisu has done and what Sam Allardyce did in the Three Lions. But Sam Allardyce was never reinstated. So, on what ground are you bringing back Salisu? Yes, you know he has committed an offense. You cannot kill him. Let him go back to his coaching. But not to almost immediately bring him back to the national team. Wale, did you know the NFF under Amadikuni were going to bring him back after 1 year, if not for the public outcry? That was why they left Imama to coach us for CHAN and then coach us for Olympic qualifiers. They were almost going to bring him back. It means they don't have regard for you and I. They don't have respect for anybody. So that's why they are doing this. They have put in there, no more explanation.
Okay, sure.
And let's deal with it.
Mokai, let's look at the fact that let's leave the fact that it's very obvious. The NFF under Amaju Pinnick has proven to us that, listen, we have no regards for you guys. We're not going to explain to you guys or defend our actions. We'll do what we want. So we're tired of talking about that. We sound like broken records at this point. However, Joseph Ibo was assistant coach. We know he knows little or nothing about the Nigerian league. He doesn't watch the matches. So it was a waste of taxpayers' money while he was there. Now, Salisu Yusuf, yes, is in-depth when it comes to knowing the league. He knows the players. He knows which ones are good, which ones are not. But like Seun said, so quickly bring him. This is a man that was caught. It wasn't like he was suspected to have taken bribe. He was caught on camera receiving bribe, accepting to do what the agents, well, supposed agents told him to do. He agreed to do it, took the bribe. And the guy is back after his punishment. And almost immediately, you know, it's like punishing a child for doing something wrong, and 5 minutes after, you're giving him ice cream. You put him at the highest level of that a Nigerian can hold in the Super Eagles, the assistant coach and the head coach, Team B of the Super Eagles, after coming from a bribery. This is shameful already as it is. It's a shame to Nigeria and our football in Nigeria, what this man has done. And he's back again, and almost immediately, he's at the pinnacle of his career again.
Actually,
is this the only person that we have that knows about the Football League?
No, obviously not. But clearly he has powerful friends.
No doubt, yeah.
He has friends that are willing to bat for him, and when you set up a technical committee and the only name they can put forward is the recently disgraced coach, understandably, I would say that he shouldn't be in the position that he is in.
At least not yet. That's what Seun is saying. At least not yet.
Ordinarily, if you did something like this in the Western world, everywhere else where there's a structure of punishments and servitude and then a road back to redemption, he would be out of this level of position for at least another 6 to 10 years. And he would have to work himself back. He would have to gain the support of a lower level team, a club, maybe even less the championship, rather than come straight back to the national stage. It's a disrespect. It's a slap in the face of the fans. Obviously, at the same time, it's happened. And I just want us to focus on what advantages can he bring for us. We've constantly complained that our coach, our current manager, Gennaro Rohr, knows nothing about the local league, doesn't want to know anything about the local league. So if this is a useful resource for us to get our wish, then, you know, we bite the bullet and accept that this is a necessary evil that has already been done, and we have no say in it.
I wish we did, but we don't. This is the match that everybody's waiting for. Like Solskjaer was saying earlier today, he says that Ronaldo is a very, very good player, but Mo Salah is on fire. Those were his words. And of course, Liverpool will take on Manchester United today at Old Trafford.
Today? No, it's Sunday.
On Sunday. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says his Manchester United side are striving towards the standard set by Liverpool in recent years. Now, previewing Sunday's Premier League meeting between the rivals, the Norwegian believes it will take every single drop of nerves to beat the Reds. Now, Solskjaer also praised the quality of Liverpool's attack and discussed the impact of United's comeback victory against Atalanta in the UEFA Champions League. Now, however, Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp rubbished the suggestion that he is rubbing his hands at the prospect of facing Manchester United on Sunday. Now, Red Devils legend Paul Scholes made the claim after United had to come from behind to beat Atalanta 3-2 in the UEFA Champions League. Klopp said no hand-rubbing took place as he watched a pure power presentation from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men. The Liverpool manager also reignited an old spat with Solskjaer over the exceptional number of penalties awarded to Man United last season. Now, Seun, what Paul Scholes is trying to suggest is that Klopp should be scared after Man U's display against Atalanta in the Champions League. But Klopp said he's not scared. But truth be said, Man U don't have the complement and experience of Raphael Varane tomorrow. They've got a fumbling Maguire and the rest of the team. Can this guy stand up against the hits of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Firmino, and Jota somewhere in the mix?
If I listen carefully to Paul Scholes, after the game against Atalanta, he said Jurgen Klopp will look at the first half of that encounter and will be licking his lips. But he has come to debunk that, Jurgen Klopp. The last time Manchester United played against Liverpool was at Old Trafford, last season. They ended 4-2. That game was even marked by controversy where the fans protested and they did not allow that game to go on as planned initially before it was eventually played. The last 2 games at Old Trafford has not been anything of joy for Manchester United fans. Lost against Aston Villa shockingly, drew against Everton, a game I felt they should have even lost. But they showed us some fighting spirit against Atalanta, that second half performance. And if they put that kind of performance against Liverpool, Liverpool are not invincible. Brentford has shown us that Liverpool are beatable. Atletico Madrid has shown us that Liverpool are beatable. They rallied from 2-0 down. If not for the red card to Antoine Griezmann, I don't think Atletico Madrid will have lost that Champions League game. Yes, you have mentioned the guys that they have up front, the Jota, the Salah who's on fire. In actual fact, for me, Salah is the best player in the world as I speak, because the way he gives people Holy Communion, you would think he spoke John Paul II. He just gives them and they fall on the ground. You saw what he did to Man City. You saw what he did to WAFCON players. You even saw what he did against the guys from Atletico Madrid. And he has become the first Liverpool player to score in 9 consecutive games, surpassing the record of Daniel Sturridge. He's a fantastic player. He's on form. Even Sadio Mane, last weekend, hit 100 goals. And Wale, the shocking thing about Sadio Mane's 100 goals, there is no single penalty. So these guys are also on fire. But look at Manchester United also. They got some quality players in the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, fantastic striker, any day, anytime. You have people like Bruno Fernandes, even when we heard it's a bit doubtful. You have Mason Greenwood. You have Marcus Rashford who has got 3 in 2. You have Paul Pogba. If you decide to raise his game, there's no midfielder that is better than him. The problem I have with Manchester United is that defense. They concede goals as if there's no problem. And they say goals wins you matches, but defense wins you championship. You mentioned Harry Maguire, the most expensive fridge in the world. He cannot organize his defense. I know the Liverpool defense is a bit of suspect. We have not seen the best of Virgil van Dijk. So United can exploit from that angle. All they need to do is to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson or James Milner, whoever will play in that position, quiet. Because they tried on those fullbacks who bump forward to support the attack. Once you can keep those guys quiet, there will be problem for them. Sadio Mane is on fire, but they can also be handled. And this is a grudge match. I listened to the interview of Gary Neville some years ago. He said Manchester United and Manchester City is not the derby. Everton and Liverpool is not the derby in Merseyside. That the big derby in England is Liverpool against Manchester United. That once the fixtures are done, they just go and look at which day are the two of them facing. They don't want to lose that match. So if the boys have that mentality, I think they'll win.
Okay, now,
it's only individual brilliance.
Okay, now, Mukael, honestly, I watched the game Liverpool against Manchester City this season. And you cannot but agree to the fact that technically those two teams are a notch higher than Manchester United.
Yes.
That was a fantastic game.
Yes. Although in recent years, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United have managed to pull off surprising wins against both Liverpool and Manchester City. And surprisingly, as much as we complain that it doesn't seem like he has a tactical philosophy or is as good at tactically as setting up his team as Klopp or Guardiola, he has demonstrated that when it comes to these two teams, Manchester United can raise their game and come up with a tactical plan to nullify some of their best attacking prowess and actually bring Manchester United's own attacking game to the fore. It's going to be an interesting match, obviously. Manchester United versus Liverpool always is. This year will probably, this match might set an awareness for the board. They might come to understand whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is capable, because we've always said, no matter how strong a team in the top 6, top 7, top 10 is, if you're vying to win the league, if you're trying to finish in the top 4, your best chances are to beat the big teams. It's how well you perform against them that will determine if you can achieve what you hope for at the end of the season. Manchester United obviously want to finish top of the table. That's unlikely to happen. No one actually expects that they are competing for the league title. But this match might determine for the board once and for all whether Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is capable of competing with these players.
Sean, before I let you go, one more sentence. Should Ole Solskjaer be sacked?
Yes.
I saw that coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seun, I asked him just one question. He answered me 3 times. Yes. You know, Solskjaer must go. That's the team Seun plays for.
And so
now this guy is not going to stop. You know, he just comes and he makes it happen. His name is Diego Schwartzman. He advanced to the European Open semis in Antwerp on Friday. Now Schwartzman was the guy who beat Andy Murray.
Yes.
Yeah. Now after seeing off from Brandon Nakashima in straight sets, the Argentine seeded second dropped just 7 points on serve as he booked his spot in a second tour-level semi-final at the season with 6-4, 6-2 victory. Now Schwartzman will meet another American in Jensen Brooksby for a place in the final after the 20-year-old world number 70 defeated Spaniard Alejandro Davidovich Fokina 7-5, 6-love. Where are these guys coming from? Schwartzman, Brooksby. These are names that we just mentioned, maybe in the news. Andy Murray beats Schwartzman. You know, Medvedev beats Schwartzman. We talk about them being beaten. That's why they're coming into the news. But from nowhere, these guys are just coming back. And obviously, they've got to do their homework.
You know what I think is that every time in sports, a period of domination by a specific set of athletes, and the fact that the number of these dominant athletes are so small, it inspires so many players, so many aspiring youngsters to try to live up to that level. Because previously, the numbers that the likes of Federer and Nadal and Djokovic have put up have not been seen at a consistent level as we've seen. At the same time, by the contemporaries. Now we have athletes who are all over the world, have spent their childhood watching these Federers, watching Nadal, and thinking to themselves, these are the levels that I'm trying to achieve. And I don't think we're going to see anything short of tens of players. We're going to see for the next decade or two, 10, 20 players who are all vying for that #1 spot, and we're not going to see a consistency.
In the NBA, we're going to try and dissect that extensively. Mukai will try and do that for us. Steph Curry scored 45 points as the Golden State Warriors narrowly beat the Los Angeles Clippers 115-113. Now, the point guard looked more like his high-scoring self after registering 21 in his team's season-opening win against the Los Angeles Lakers, with Kawhi Leonard out definitely as he recovers from knee surgery. Slim win, they are still early days. The NBA League just begun. But so far, so good. The usual suspects, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Golden State Warriors, the regulars.
Yes. Steph Curry is on the 75th NBA anniversary list. He's one of the highest three-point shooters, number 3, I believe. Whether Stephen Curry is on the level of Kobe Bryant and potentially Michael Jordan. The game that we watched yesterday was just more of an exclamation point on the fact of Curry's abilities, and we're going to see many more.
Are we going to see the regulars, the usual suspects, the usual teams in the finals, the NBA finals? Are we going to see the regular names? Or you suspect a club could just come out from somewhere and do us a lister, you know?
Well, we are definitely going to see a lot of a lot of the same this good old-fashioned same names, the regular suspects. But I'm suspecting that we're going to see Miami Heat and Boston Celtics come out to the fore this season. It's just a feeling I have. I've watched them recently, even though Boston Celtics lost last night / this morning. The fact is I've watched them play, and I believe that by the end of the season, we might see them vying for the Eastern Conference title.
Will that be a surprise?
It will be a surprise to many, but it won't be a surprise to me.
Okay, now this rivalry is becoming very insulting at this point. Now, Red Bull's championship leader, Max Verstappen, called Lewis Hamilton a stupid idiot after the Formula One title rivals went wheel-to-wheel in the U.S. Grand Prix practice in Austin. 24-year-old Dutchman also gave the 7-time world champion the most successful driver of all time a single-digit salute as the Mercedes accelerated away on a hot Texas afternoon. Now, Verstappen is 6 points clear of Mercedes, Hamilton with 6 rounds remaining, and the battle is getting more intense in every race. Now, Red Bull's Mexican Sergio Perez was quickest in that second session with a time of 1 minute 34.946 seconds, with Verstappen frustrated by traffic and failing to set a proper flying lap. He ended up 8th. It's understandable frustration sets in. You know, you're chasing somebody for like forever. But to go as far as calling them a stupid idiot in a press conference, that's Verstappen to Lewis Hamilton is unnecessary. Really childish.
It is unnecessary. Whatever personal animosities they might share for each other, and they've had conflict this year. They've had penalties against both of them. Attempts at overtaking each other on the circuit have led to accidents. And I know that there's definitely animosity, but they need to keep that out of the news conference. Yeah. They need to keep that out of the public, because the F1 is not a sport that thrives on vocal animosity.
Just drive.
Yes, just drive. Unlike boxing, obviously, that you
need to annoy your opponent to make mistakes.
Yes, but this is not that. This is such a technical sport.
But I think at this point, Lewis Hamilton has been in charge front wheel for like forever. And it's only normal for somebody like Verstappen, who has gotten this close in the past, and then Hamilton runs away again. So I think he's beginning to get frustrated. But it's almost touching this guy.
But I doubt, because, you know, this is what the game is. This is what the sport is. You understand that there's probably going to be someone who's better than you, a better driver, has a better car, has a better team, and the potential.
Not when I almost touch him every time, and I feel like someday I'll touch this guy.
Yes, but ultimately, I believe this is nothing necessarily. I think at the root of their current animosity towards each other is something personal, not sports related. It might have started as sports related frustration, but ultimately they might have had conflicts behind the scenes where they've met each other at luncheons and in their lounges, and there's been a spat or two. We haven't heard anything, but the F1 is notorious for being very tight-lipped. It's very few scandals ever comes out of the F1, but these are type A personalities because they're behind the wheels, controlling big, powerful machines.
The first match of the day for the Premiership, and it will be Chelsea against Norwich. And would you say Norwich will be just a walkover?
Norwich are a yo-yo team. They go up, they go down, and we don't really. There's very little about them that is memorable at this point. I don't see Pukki, their main striker, being the threat that of 2-3 years ago that was.
He was, yeah.
Yes, and Chelsea's defensive efforts, Chelsea's defensive setup is so well organized. I think the only issue they might have right now is their offensive side. Mount is trying to get back into form of goal-scoring form. We've lost 2 strikers. Kai Havertz isn't exactly on form as well. And Ziyech isn't really blowing up his manager. He's not really impressing his manager enough to put him out there. Even after Lukaku and Werner left the pitch against Malmo, it was Hudson-Odoi that stepped into So, but then ultimately, defensively, they have nothing to worry about. I believe it will be a walkover, but
Okay, these guys just don't have to. They can't get their groove back yet. They go against Watford. They host Watford, Everton, and for some reason they haven't gotten their full groove that we've known them for in the past. And they go against a very strong Watford side.
Yeah, but this is a brand new season with a brand new manager at the helm, and a lot of new philosophies are being taught to these players. James Rodriguez has been moved on, and they are lacking that particular creative spark. Ultimately, I do expect them to do as well as you would expect an Everton team to do by the end of the season, finish mid-table or so. I think they will probably beat Watford today, though.
Okay, our time is almost up, but quickly, Brighton and Hove host a very informed Manchester City.
Yes, unfortunately for Brighton, we like to watch them play because they've proven they're one of those teams from the bottom, the lesser league, that have been able to step up into the Premier League and do well and stay in the Premier League. But going up against the Manchester City, they'll get torn apart, as always, as most teams do.
Plus Sports Special on PlusTvAfrica. Mukail, well, he's a Chelsea fan for the record,
Blues
and
for
he's
life.
sure it's going to be a win against Norwich. So if you are somebody who bets, might as well.
I bet.
Place your bets on Chelsea.
Yes.
And don't forget it was Mukail that told you, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, join us same time next week, same station on Plus Sports Special on PlusTvAfrica. My name is Wale Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.